how do you musical direct with someone like Eminem?
When he says, I don't want to do that, I'm not trying to beg him to do an idea that I did.
How do you make an artist feel safe?
Execute their vision in the way that they want it.
Walk me through a week of being musical director for American Idol.
I say bye to my family, the whole thing.
You don't have to do everything. You got to know how to delegate. You got to know how to get everybody's opinion.
If you're a producer, a real producer that understands the art of space, you can be a great musical director. And if you know how to solve problems fast and still smile at the same time in front of the camera, even though somebody's fucking up the fucking song and the click tracks off, you got to smile the whole time.
Let's go.
What is up, everybody? Welcome to the show. Today, we're going to dive into a subject that I am very passionate about, and that is the role of the musical director. So if you've ever been to a concert or watched something on TV and the music just felt right, the vibe was right, the mix was right, the arrangements, the transitions, chances are there was an incredible musical director behind the scenes that made that all happen. So what is a musical director? Why are they so important? How do you become one? What does it take to be one? We're going to go through all those things in this episode. And we're also going to take moments from previous interviews that we've done with some of the greatest musical directors in the world, talking about very important, valuable information that we have grabbed from them. So we hope at the end of this episode that you know exactly what a musical director is, all about them. And if you really love it, you can go back and listen to these full 90-minute to 2-hour conversations with some of the greatest musical directors in the world, including Adam Blackstone, Kris Pooley, Michael Bearden, Teddy Campbell, Rance Dopson, and Elmo Lovano. So we hope you enjoyed it. Let's dive in. All right, so let's kick it off with the basic. What is a musical director? At its core, the music director is the person that goes between the artist and the band. They are in charge of meeting with the artist and determining the vision of the show. So sometimes the artist knows exactly what they want, and a lot of the times the artist doesn't know. So it's the musical director's responsibility to either pull that information out of them and translate it to the band and create this whole show, or they have to either make it themselves from scratch and pitch it to the artist, or they work with the artist to develop what the sound of the show is, who's going to be in the band, what size of a band, what is it going to sound like, what are the transitions, the set list, etc. Being an MD is not just about playing music. It's about understanding the artist's vision, being organized, and putting the whole thing together. So you got to be part musician, part organizer, and part problem solver. And on top of all that, you have to be the ultimate communicator. Here's Adam Blackstone on musical directing Eminem from episode 51. How do you musical direct with someone like Eminem?
Yeah, now
Yeah.
is we just trust each other. He puts out these incredible albums, a little twisted sometimes.
Yeah.
You know, I can't say that I was the hugest listener of his music. I was always been a fan, but I had to dive into it again. I talk about diving into it. When I got the call, I'm like, let me figure this out. And I hear how Dre's bounce has impacted his tracks and his albums. I hear how there's live instruments on there. I hear how he loves to make a loop move and tell a story. So our relationship now is that he'll say, hey man, I love this show that you've put together. Let's take this same core show, but how can we differentiate it or make it feel new by starting different and all of that? And I'll say, hey, let's try this song. He's like, oh, I like that, but I don't like this. So it's very communicative and back and forth, but he allows me to do my thing. But again, with him telling me, these are the songs that I want to do now, you make it feel right. So I love that about our relationship. I trust him to, when he says, I don't want to do that, I'm not trying to beg him to do an idea that I did just because I did the idea. I'm like, okay, there's a reason why you don't want to do it. It's not my place to try to convince you, but how can I influence you to either listen to it, and if you don't want to listen to it, what's the solution? Let's figure out a solution together. It's very collaborative.
What about back in the early days of Eminem, when you first started with him and you're building the trust, and there's a lot of anger and aggression in that show, and you know, he's clearly gone through a lot, and he really puts it all out there.
One of the approaches that I did for my first Eminem shows was to make sure the band matched the track. He had been a track show artist for so long that I did not want to differentiate from what he was used to. But what I did do, and this is how I gained his trust, was say, hey, in a live show, you can take moments to go grab a water, get your breath. He raps fast and aggressive and a lot. So he needed those moments, which I don't think he had in a track show.
Wow.
I said, hey, I'm going to build these 8 bars of a transition in here. You can go off and chill for a second. Let's let the guitar player take a solo on cleaning out my closet. And that allows you to get your breath, maybe change your t-shirt or something. And those are things that he may not have thought about.
Right.
While doing a show with a DJ. You know what I'm saying? And that's how we kind of seem small. Yeah. You know, to a musician, but that's a big deal to an artist that's stuck in their ways to say, oh wow, the band allows me to get a breather here. Oh wow,
it keeps the vibe going.
That keeps the vibe going. These songs are now, Adam put these 3 songs that are in A minor all together, so my cadence and my tonality can almost remain the same, and I don't have to jump, you know what I mean? And tempos can fluctuate and stuff like that, and it doesn't feel super herky-jerky.
For sure.
So that's kind of what I've implied and brought into the Eminem situation.
So many words.
Yeah.
From episode 39, here's Michael Bearden on musical directing Lady Gaga and how to build trust. We'll go into the depth of your musical direction and your approaches and everything. But one thing that I've noticed in particular with Lady Gaga is that you've been with Gaga for years, right? You've been
12 years now.
12 years being her musical director. But there's one other thing that I've noticed when I see a lot of like footage or photos or anything or just like your vibe together is it seems like Gaga really trusts you and is obviously 12 years of working together. She trusts you musically, but it seems like she finds comfort in you.
Yes, that's an amazing thing to observe.
And so my question is, how do you make an artist feel safe?
Wow, great question. The first thing you have to do to make an artist feel safe is be able to execute their vision in the way that they want it. But the other thing is you also have to tell them what they need to hear, not what they want to hear. So, for instance, if they tell you their vision of, I want to sing this and it should feel like this. This is what I'm going for. And then I will say something like, okay, do you want a different arrangement of it? Should I make it faster? Should I add this or should I add that? So I'll backtrack into the first time I worked with her, and this will explain how you make an artist feel comfortable. So when I first started working with her, I got a call from her people, and they were looking for somebody to arrange and help her with Obama's second inauguration, and she was going to sing at this big gala event and all that. And so they called me and then they put her on the phone. And she goes, "Hey, Michael, this is Lady Gaga. I hear you the man." I was like, "Well, thank you." And then she goes, "Yes, I have this song. It's called Born This Way," as if I never heard it. I was like, "Yes, I know it." And she said the most amazing thing. She says, "Can you make it sound presidential for me?" And right away, that was just a challenge for me musically. I was like, wow, okay. I'm not going to the phone like, okay. I said, well, what does that mean to you? And she goes, well, whatever that means to you. So I go, well, I always like orchestra. I conduct orchestra and arrange and all that. Do you hear orchestra on that? She said, let me hear it. Like, surprise me. Let me do. So I came up with an arrangement and we had a pre-recorded so she could hear it and play to it and all that type of thing. So I went, I think I recorded that here in Los Angeles. I'm trying to remember. I think it was at East West. Got an orchestra, did it, and I played it for her on the phone. She says, "That's great. Can you put drums on it?" And I was like, "Oh yeah, let me find a drummer." I ran around the studio actually, and I'm sure you know who he is. Matt Chamberlain was in the studio that day recording with somebody. And I was like, "Matt, can you come throw a drum?" He doesn't even remember this. I told him at some session we did, after that, and he didn't even remember because it was so fast that he just like threw drums on there for me. And so then I flew to DC and got the orchestra together. And then Tony Bennett was also on that show, got the big band together, conducted everything. And all Gaga had to do was come in, sit down and play. And right away, she was like, she said, "Who are you?" She said, "I've never just come in and sat down and played, and it was exactly what I was envisioning."
Amazing.
And so that's how you, right away, just from our first meeting, and that wasn't the first time we met. We actually met at a birthday party for Bill Clinton at the Hollywood Bowl. And it was a lot of acts on the show, and I was playing with Stevie. And,
Stevie Wonder.
Stevie Wonder.
Ever heard of him?
Yeah. Gaga was on the show, and I met her then. So that was in our first meeting for Obama's inauguration. But that's how you kind of get in and just get them to trust you, because she had a vision. I was able to execute that. And then, over the years, we just worked in so many different configurations together and different things that she wanted to do. And she stretches all my musical skill sets, which is really, really great. So over the years, we just, built this trust and this, comfort and respect.
For any leader, whether you're the artist and you're a leader, or you're the CEO and you're leading, or whatever position you're in, the closer you can put a vision out that people understand,
absolutely,
the more successful you're going to be in everyone achieving your vision.
That's right. And it depends on the time we have. We always joke with each other, like, if we get like whatever, something like, say we're doing the Oscars or something, and we get more than 2 days, we always joke with each other, like, "Ooh, that's a lot of time." Like, because we've done shows in like the last minute.
Yeah, of course.
We've done big shows and for hundreds of thousands of people, like with no time. None.
Oh, like when you filled in the headlining slot at Coachella?
Wow, you're so good. You're good, Elmo. Yeah. What was crazy about that is she was shooting A Star Is Born at that time.
Yeah.
So
which you were in as well?
Yeah, I was in.
Let's get that cameo.
But yeah, she was working on that, and so Richie and I had to like put all of that together at the last minute. And we did.
How last minute was it?
It was a while ago, so I don't remember, but it was quite last minute for us.
Days, weeks?
I think we had a week or so, but it wasn't much more. It wasn't much more than, it wasn't like a month.
Yeah, a week or so for a Coachella main stage headline. It wasn't like a month.
Like, it was in days, but it wasn't like a month. Like, we didn't have a sit down and a whole thing. And even when we did get her, she had to be fitted for wardrobe and learn all the things. And so, we didn't have her for much. We were working at Coachella, like at soundcheck. Okay, you're gonna go stage right here. But to her credit, when the lights went on and it was time, she went out there and just killed it. Just like we had a month or so. Yeah, she just killed it. But that was her trusting Richie and I. To do what we do and what we have been doing for her forever.
Right.
So when you get that close knit magic, I keep using that word because that's what it is to me. Then you just kind of just leap without a net. And she does that anyway. Yeah. But to know that we're gonna have her back. Yeah. And dancers, me, Richie, lighting, everybody, wardrobe, everybody's going to have her. Yeah. And she knows that. And she'll just jump like she did at the Super Bowl.
Here's Teddy Campbell on Drummer MDs and working with Britney Spears from episode 50.
And that's the one thing about a good music director. You don't have to do everything. You got to know how to delegate. You got to know how to get everybody's opinions and make the best out of, the gumbo that you're given.
Absolutely.
But that's a big part of it. And that's what I did. I mean, I had to, because I don't play keys. I sing, so I can sing parts. I can sing lines. I can, I give the guitar player parts. I can sing the parts, so it was easy for me in that respect. But like not being able to play, I need somebody that can speak my language. Yep. I can say something to, and they're like, "Oh yeah, okay," and we work well together. So I had that. It was great. But Britney had like a level of respect for me. He's like, "All right, Teddy, you want to pray?" Like every day he's like, "He's gonna pray," So the respect was there, and she just had a lot of trust in me.
So what is the most important thing about this role? It's really about two things: musicality and leadership. You have to understand the music inside out, and you have to be able to lead the entire team, the band, the crew, and the artist. Now, when it comes to the artist, you have to identify if the artist you're working with is the kind of artist that wants you to take full lead or wants you to take their lead. So once you figure that out, then you can understand your role of what to do with the artist. But no matter what, you are leading the band and the crew. You may have a band that is your house band, that is your core. And then depending on wherever you are, different dates, maybe you add a string section, a horn section, or some other musical element. So that may be happening with different one-offs as you go around on top of that. So you're in charge of communicating and leading your core band and then all the other independent contractor musicians that you bring along the way. From episode 53, here's Kris Pooley on musical directing American Idol. You've been the musical director for American Idol since 2018?
2018, yep.
Long time.
Yeah, 8th season this year. Yeah.
That's incredible, man. Congrats.
I'm thankful for it, man. I mean, that has ended up being something way more fun than I thought it was going to be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's one of the dream gigs. That's one of the consistent high-level TV, because there's only a few of those.
Yeah, I guess it is. It's a bit of a dinosaur in that there aren't many shows that where you're playing live music on live TV.
Yeah. And a ton of live music.
A lot of live music. And at first it seems daunting when you think about that at scale, you know?
Yeah.
But it really just, I mean, it's just people playing music. I mean,
you're a musician. That's what
you do. Yeah, that's what everyone does. Yeah.
Walk me through a week of being musical director for American Idol.
Okay. So let's do a week where we have 2 live shows. So sometimes we have a live show on Sunday and a live show on Monday.
Mm-hmm.
So let's say we just finished the show on Monday. We just found out, let's say 3 of the contestants are going home.
Mm-hmm.
So after we go out and have a drink after the show, I'll go home. Maybe 2 drinks.
Yeah.
Then I will go home and reorganize our Dropbox with now I'll remove the stuff that the contestants who went home were going to do because we've been prepping songs for them from like 2 weeks before. Reorganize all the information. So then Tuesday morning, we go in and have an executive run through where the remaining contestants come in and sing the song that they want to do that week for myself and the executives. Then we talk about them. Why are you doing that? Sometimes we'll change the song. Sometimes we'll reshuffle things, go home, work on arrangements Tuesday night, sort of like cast the net out to the band and we share a Google Doc and this is what you got to do this and you're playing mandolin on this and it's going to be like this version and check out, so organize all of that remotely. Then we will rehearse as a band on stage noon to 6 on Wednesday to go through all, at that point, it's probably like 24 to 30 songs. Something like that. And then, meanwhile, the night before we would have been making like all the percussion tracks and whatever tracks we're going to make, everything except for what we're playing live. Thursday would be a dry block, which is all the contestants on stage, one at a time. We get 3 passes with each of them. That's it. So contest rule, you know, you can't like, oh, we should work on that some more. It's just 3. That's it. 3. We'll do their song for Sunday. We'll do their song for Monday. Then we move on. We do that with all 24 of them or whatever.
All 24 of them.
That's the whole day. So if you do the math on what that is.
Yeah.
So then that's Thursday all day. And during each of those passes, we do it differently each time. It's kind of like, okay, next time, let's wait for you to come into the chorus and let's actually have drums start at the top now. And then, anyway, so then we'll do another rehearsal on Friday. It's a camera blocks and all the cameras are up and the director is running that rehearsal. They're doing all the gags and the staging and the, run it 3 times for the Sunday episode. The next day, Saturday, run it 3 times for the Monday episode. Then the day of the show, we do a dress rehearsal in the morning. Do the show live, go home. Then it's live East Coast, West Coast. And then Monday, come back, dress rehearsal, live show.
7 days a week.
Yeah. And then everything you just did, you just drag it to the trash and it starts over again the next day.
Wow.
Yeah. So
there's no days off.
There have been in past seasons where we've been spread out. This season is a little bit more compressed.
That's crazy. We're
going as soon as we start till we finish. It's April 6th to May 18th, I think is like the window for it.
Yeah.
And then it's every day for sure.
April 6th to May 18th is when, so it's condensed into those 6 weeks or so.
Yeah. And then there's I have some pre-production and meetings on the front end of that. But
how on earth would you do any other gig during that time?
You can't. No
way.
I say bye to my family, the whole thing. Yeah.
So how does it work? What does a musical director's day-to-day look like? So before the tour is out, the first thing you need to do is meet with the artist, determine the vision, and then define what you think the band should be. How many people should be in the band, what size it should look like, what it should sound like, etc. Then once you figure that out, you got to figure out the tone. You're going to be making the arrangements. You may be making the set lists. Once you do all that pre-production work, now it's time for rehearsals. So in the rehearsals, of course, you have to give the music to the whole band, whether or not you have written it out or not, or you're just vibing with the band. That's totally up to you and your style. But you got to get together with the band and make sure that your vision or the artist vision that you've determined together gets across to the band and they understand well. So of course you want to choose the best band possible that can actually play what you really think you're going for. So you got to choose those people. You got to keep them happy. That's very important. Keep these people happy because you don't want upset people. That'll ruin the whole vibe, all rehearsal, the whole show goes down the drain. So how do you keep everyone happy? How do you communicate to everyone? How do you lead them? Make arrangements that everyone's happy with. But even if they're not happy with it, you got to communicate to them that this is best. We've already made this decision. Let's go. Trust me. Get them to trust you. So now you're in rehearsals. You're going to write the set list out. You're going to run through the show. You're going to tweak arrangements. You're going to tweak the set list, try a bunch of things, usually before the artist comes into rehearsals. Sometimes the artist is there from day one, but a lot of the time, especially on these bigger pop gigs or hip hop gigs or whatever it may be, the artist doesn't come until maybe the final process or maybe not even at all. There's a lot of the times, especially when the artist gets to the point of trusting the music director, where they just show up for the show or maybe the final rehearsal or the production rehearsal. So it is up to you to tweak all that and make the show perfect with the band so then you can present it to the artist. Then you start rehearsals with the artist and then you go to production rehearsals and then the show's ready to go on the road. It's not just about music also. You have to coordinate with choreography, lighting, your whole production team. You got your tour manager you want to work with. You have your front of house engineer that you really want to dial the sound. So the front of house engineer mixes the audio that the audience hears. So you want to make sure that comes off perfectly. Then on top of that, you have your monitor engineer, which is sitting side stage, and they just mix all the ears, which is usually in-ears, for the band and the artist. Most of the time these days, everyone's on in-ears, wireless. You may still have wedges on stage. Sometimes there's more old school bands that may have just wedges on stage, but most of the time you're going to have in-ears. You're going to have a monitor engineer that's running that whole thing. So you want to make sure that you have a good monitor engineer because that's what you're hearing. And when people can't hear themselves well, they get really grumpy. So try to get the best monitor engineer and front of house engineer that you can get. So when it comes down to it, MDs are the glue that's holding the whole performance together. Preparation is everything. You cannot just wing it. You got to be prepared. But you also have to know that curveballs are going to come and hit you, and you have to be ready for those challenging moments where things may change or not go right, and just in that moment, create the solution as fast as possible and as confidently as possible. In the case that you mess up, you do not want to show anyone that you messed up. You got to keep it cool. Same thing with the band. Keep going. You got to be able to adapt on the fly, whether it's in the middle of a show or a rehearsal. You got to be able to adapt. Here's Rance Dopson on musical directing Beyoncé, the importance of having a great team and problem solving from episode 28.
If you're a producer, a real producer that understands the art of space, you can be a great musical director.
Yeah.
And if you know how to solve problems fast and still smile at the same time in front of the camera, even though somebody's fucking up the song and the click track's off, you still gotta smile and then tell the artist, yo, keep going, say this, the band, the shit's fucking up, and then you go tell the monitor guy, hey, you're fucking up, like, what are we doing, can we fix this? And you gotta smile the whole time. So it's really about being a problem solver and being organized and just having a good team, man. Like, I'm just blessed to be able to have the Avengers to where, you know, back in the day I was MD'ing and doing a lot of stuff to where now my job is a lot easier because God has blessed me with the coldest musicians alive. Like, you know, shout out to Damo and Kyrie, you know, and Quentin and, you know, Chris Payton. Like all our people are really like, I'm making them MDs now. Yeah. You know, like, you know, of course we did for Beyonce. We got the call to do the Dubai show. Yep. So I MD'd that. The difference with me is when I walked in, for the rehearsal, I walked in with me, Kyrie, and Damo. So, we're the MDs. What y'all want to do?
Yeah.
Most people won't do that because they're selfish and they really, So it's to the point now where Kyrie, I left and Kyrie killed it, and Damo had to go to Alicia Keys to MD her.
Yeah.
We're really like killing the game, man. Yeah.
You're scaling it. That's how you grow.
Yeah. And then shout out to the homies Omar and Adam Blackstone too.
Yeah. Omar Edwards.
Yeah, we're like in cahoots. People don't know. We're homies though.
Yeah, you guys are all together.
it's like it's either you're with Adam or you're with us, West Coast or Omar, or man, well, we're really homies for real.
So how do you become a musical director? Most musical directors started out as musicians. You tour for a while, you get experience, you learn how to lead, you learn how to arrange, and you build the trust of the people around you. Now, if you are an incredible musician and you're good to people, you're nice to people, you're showing that you can take lead, you're making arrangements, maybe you're helping the musical director that you're currently under, help that music director. You don't want to get in their way, but if you notice they're super busy and you have ideas for transitions, maybe pitch it to them, see how they feel about it. You got to be careful with that. And if they like it, great. And if they see you as a value add to them and you're going to help them, great. They're going to love you even more. And then eventually they may even hand you that MD gig as they continue to grow, because it's all about passing it down, right? You start as a musician, you grow into a musical director, you get bigger gigs as a musical director, and you keep going up. And as you're doing that, your plate gets full. You're going to want to hand it down to people you trust. So you want to become one of the people that the musical director trusts, the artist trusts, your fellow musician trusts. So much of this is what happens off stage. Your attitude. Are you on time? Are you responsible? Are you reliable? Are you cool? Do you look good and smell good? Shower, stay clean, be happy, be positive, help people, right? 99% of the time you are traveling together. You're not even on stage. So be pleasant when you're around people, be the best version of you, be a good person. That goes really far. But the second you build everyone's trust and they see that you're an awesome musician and you can lead and you can arrange, you may get yourself a role as a musical director. Now, here's the thing. One of the most important things is networking. You have to meet people. Meeting people opens doors, especially when they like you and they see that you are talented. Being likable, being humble, being hardworking, being dedicated, being empathetic, all these things help. And you have that full package. You network, you meet people. This is a word of mouth industry, right? When people meet someone that they like and they see that you are passionate and you love what you do and you're really talented, they're going to want to give you opportunities, especially over time. So you can't be too eager and you can't be like, when is it my time? When is it my time? You just got to keep going. You got to stay on your path. For some people, it happens sooner than others, but no matter what, don't get frustrated. Don't get jaded. Keep going. It's going to happen for you at the right time, but you just got to be confident and cool and make friends. And the more friends you have, the more likely you are to get more gigs and to get that musical director gig that you are looking for. Now, another bonus tip, this is coming from a learned lesson that I've done in my musical director journey. Try your best to get into the world that you want to be in. So if you like hip hop, go to hip hop shows, try to get in a hip hop band, try to work your way into there. If you like country, do that. If you like singer-songwriter, that. Pop, whatever it is. Because once you get in that world, you want to do well. And then when you do well, you're going to get more gigs on that path. So let's say you want to be playing with a hip hop artist, but you get offered a country gig and you want the bread. You go do the country gig, right? Now you do a great job. Now you get another country gig. Now you're doing a really great job, and another country artist that you were opening for, the headliner now wants you to be with them. Next thing you know, you're 10 years down the line and you're all on country gigs. Now, you may not want that. You may be like, man, I wish I was on hip hop gigs. A great example of that is Adam Blackstone. He got his first gig with Jay-Z. Well, really, it started all with the Roots and Questlove, which led to Jay-Z, which then led to Kanye and Rihanna, et cetera, et cetera. Here's a clip of that story, but this shows the trajectory. From episode 51, here's Adam Blackstone again talking about his trajectory. Correct me if I'm wrong here, but the first big gig was Jay-Z, right?
Fade to Black.
Fade to Black.
Yeah. That seems like so long. I guess it was so long ago.
It was so long ago, man. And I want to kind of take a moment to think of everything that has come in your life after that.
Yeah, that was a snowball effect from that one gig for sure.
That one gig,
yeah.
Jay-Z with Questlove MD'ing it.
Yep. James Poyser, Omar Edwards, Kevin Hansen on guitar, Frankie Knuckles on percussion, you know. Just Blaze as the DJ.
Wow.
Yeah, it was.
It's like the
crazy.
Roots Deluxe.
It was. Yeah, we called ourselves the Illadelphonics.
Illadelphonics, I love it.
That's what we were, and I have easy time telling this trajectory story. Is that I met this guy, who was wearing a pink polo shirt from Chicago at the Jay-Z show, and he said, "Hey man, I really love what you're doing with Jay. You know, after you done this, I think Omar was working with him at the time. After you done this, maybe come work." It was Kanye. So from Kanye, I met this Barbadian girl who was opening for Kanye. She said, "Yo, I like what you're doing," and her team was like, "Yo, you know, we're gonna reach out to you." It was Rihanna. From Rihanna, I met, you know, Drake, and from Drake I went on to work with Janet, and from Janet I went through Jonas Brothers / Justin Timberlake because of Johnny Wright was managing Janet at the time, and it's just so many things in between, but that is a big lesson for me on preparedness.
Yeah.
Because if I would have come to that Jay-Z gig just in my mindset as just the bass player and, you know, wanting to just fall back and, you know, not make my voice heard musically, those relationships may not have been how they turned out. So, you know, definitely be prepared no matter what you're called to do. I wasn't the MD on that gig. Yeah. But I feel like I made a splash enough and made myself needed enough and known enough to develop those relationships.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah, I watched it recently, Fade to Black, and you guys coming out in the production lifting and you go into Izzo and you're ripping on bass.
Thank you, man.
And Questlove's deep in the pocket and you're 20 years old or something?
Yeah, 23. 24 years. 22 years ago. Yeah, I was 20.
Yeah. That's amazing, man. Yeah. And it's crazy because for you to have Jay-Z as a platform to be your first big gig, which of course came from Questlove and the whole Philadelphia connection that you were in, that whole scene was such an incredible moment at that time. Mm-hmm. But it's crazy that you jump into Jay-Z, you get given Jay-Z the opportunity, which then leads to Kanye and leads to Rihanna, et cetera, et cetera. It's like just this steady flow of relationships.
For sure.
But you came in at the top as a young kid, because clearly Questlove must have just really seen it in you even when you were at that age.
Yeah, and even getting to Quest, I must say, was a different, path. In Philadelphia, when I moved to Philly in 2000, I'm from Jersey, born and raised in Jersey. Me and my family moved to South Jersey, which is very close to Philadelphia. It's the Jersey side, but moved to Philly in 2000 to go to college. Started going to any and everything that I can play the bass at. Jazz clubs, restaurants, bar mitzvahs. I was church, of course. I was just trying to do it all, and walked into, my friends invited me to an open mic at a spot called the 5 Spot, which ended up being the Black Lily Festival, which was the most foremost soulful festival. It was in Philly, but to me, I'm going to say up and down the East Coast, everybody in there from, on any given night, from Bilal to Music Soul Child to Jill Scott to India.Arie to Erykah Badu to Flowetry, and one of my great friends, Dwayne Moore, who's just bassist extraordinaire, was playing for, the house band local group Jazzy Fat Nasties, and he was about to go on tour with Flowetry, and he asked me did I want to do the house band gig at the open mic. I did that. Lo and behold, the manager of the house band gig was the manager of the Roots, Richard Nichols.
Wow.
And that relationship developed, and I was just a studio rat with him, man. Just leaving school 4 p.m., going straight to the studio till like 4 a.m. if I had to, and then going back to school. So I was doing that for a long time, and I think that he passed the word to Questlove, like, yo, it's this kid in here he might have the sauce, you know what I mean? And he's dedicated and hardworking, and we were helping put ideas together for that next Roots album, which was Phrenology. And then, from that, again, word of mouth from the Roots manager, Richard Nichols, who has passed away, rest in peace. He put a lot of us on too as young kids, because he nurtured us. He showed us the business. He was paying us cash. And as a college student, I thought I was rich. I was like, yo, I got $500 this week, not today, just for the week. I'm like, I'm good. I can eat. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't no Uber then. It was like, I can get a cab if I need to go somewhere. And he was really taking care of us and sewing into our gift, and spread the word to the higher up Roots camp. Yeah. Because if you know about the Roots, man, we like a full mafia out here. It's like Amir's reach has touched there's so many olive branches that he has just sown into. And I'm just thankful that then in 2001, 2, I was one of those people, so that when the time came where he got the call for Jay, it was him that got the call. He was able to bring me along. Where you start and then do well can lead you on that way. So even if you take the country gig because you want the bread, but even though you want the hip hop gig, as soon as you can, try to make your way over to that hip hop world, the community, the people you hang out with. So maybe go to the hip hop shows, even if you're on the other gig that you're trying to get away from. Go to those shows, get into that community, hang with those people, show them you're awesome, and let them know, oh yeah, I'm out with this artist, but I'd love to be in this world. Like, yo, I'm here. Let me know. I'm gonna make it happen. Because then once you get in that world and you start crushing it, you're gonna meet more people in that world, and that's how you go down the path that you want. Because you can't just have your goal to be, I want to be a professional musician or I want to be a musical director. It's too vague, right? It's too big. It should be, I want to be a pop musical director or whatever it is. And the more your bullseye is, the bigger your bullseye is, and you can really hone in on that, the closer you're going to be to actually hitting your target. So you may not hit it right there. You may hit it right here, but that's way better than hitting it over here, right? You don't want to get to the point where you're like, oh, great, I'm playing arenas. That was my goal, but I'm playing a genre that doesn't fulfill me, and I'm speaking from experience. Then that happened to me, which was fine. I ended up getting my life back on track and getting to where I wanted to be. So it was great that I was making good money and doing the job I wanted, but I was not in the genre that I wanted to be in. So once you get into the genre you want to be in and you have the role you want, you're going to be very happy. So you got to know your craft, you got to be reliable, and you got to be ready for when the opportunity comes in. So to wrap it up, a musical director does a lot more than just getting the music ready. They create experiences, they manage teams, they put it all together. It's a challenging job, but it's incredibly rewarding. So if you're interested in this path, focus on developing your skills, putting yourself out there, and learning as much as you can. The other thing that you can do, listen to all these people and what they're saying. Really follow their words and try to get near them. Proximity is everything. So whether you're saying hello to them at a concert or reaching out on Instagram, whatever it is, be cool. Show them that you're talented. Make sure your Instagram page or your TikTok page or whatever it is, your YouTube is dialed in and you look awesome. So when this person does look at your page and you get their 5 seconds of attention, it's an easy presentation of how great you are and how you could be a value add to them. So thank you for hanging with me today. I hope you learned all about musical directors, and I hope I answered a bunch of your questions. If you have any more questions, leave them in the comments and I will answer them. And if you have any more interest, I highly recommend you going and listening to these full interviews with these other incredible musical directors: Adam Blackstone, Kris Pooley, Rance Dopson, Terrace Martin, Teddy Campbell. The list goes on and on. We have a lot of great musical directors on Go with Elmo. So please subscribe, please like, please share, give it to your other
friends who are aspiring musicians, musical directors. Spread the love and positivity. And please don't forget that it's all about the journey. It's not where you're at today, okay? One step at a time. Keep getting better and better and better. Work on you, work on you, work on you. Be the best person that you can be. Learn as much as you can. Be nice to people. Get yourself next to those people and show them that you're awesome in a humble way, and all will be good to you. Much love. We'll see you soon. Let's go.
Go with Elmo. 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 This is the stuff, man.